Where is this concert? Pavilion?
They've been advertising on 106.9.
You have a question?
No, you can ask questions.
Do you?
My neighbor came knocking on my door this morning about 9 o'clock, 9:30, along with another lady from down the street, questioning about the lawn service.
What about the lawns?
Answer, but I haven't seen that. And you know,
They don't like the leaves
find out what they had done
being
about the acquisition.
in the flower beds. Basically what I got out of
Is
it.
that part of our lawn service?
They're in.
No, it's not, but it's hard to convince them that it's not.
Yeah, so I mean, something ought to be.
I think our lawn
I
service
said,
has done a good job.
look at mine, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, but you got all those leaves in there. I said, that don't bother me. I said, I'll leave them in there and keep the weeds down.
Who's that?
That upset when he left.
Well, just so happens,
I said, it's not my call anyway.
my wife has the luxury of a housekeeper once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
4 hours. Comes in and does all our cleaning. And it just so happens her husband is a gardener.
Yeah.
So all that stuff you're talking about, he's the one that trims all the bushes and the leaves. Our lawn service doesn't do that.
No,
Yes.
no.
Either do it yourself or get somebody else to.
But they have what they've done. And we've had them now for what, 4 years?
Yeah.
What they've done to keep the price down. They've literally cut some services,
Okay.
you know. It used to be that the contract called for trimming and all of that. When's the last time you saw them trim?
Well, they haven't.
That's
Like I
right,
said,
that's
we've got
exactly
people
right.
doing it.
But it's still in the contract.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah.
See, I thought we had done away with that at one of our meetings for the association there, the Fairway Village.
Still in the
Association.
contract, they just re-up the contract every time to keep the price the same. But
They quit.
apparently that's something that Tommy and she worked out, I don't know.
They'll be
Whatever.
Great.
You get
Doesn't
it.
bother me, I just pay the bill.
That's it.
I'm not involved.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, I'm thinking about putting them into plants.
Bill comes in, I pay.
Plants, you know, so.
Well, we've got 4K quality, 8 megapixel cameras.
Our Fairway Village bill, I think now is higher than the, well, we don't have a CIA bill in Fairway Village anymore, do we? Boy, we got double dipped. Are they gonna refund us all that money we paid over the years?
Checks in the mail.
Can you believe that? The CIA
But it's a
bill,
one-time expense.
Yeah, it's one
A part of
time,
the
and with that camera.
subdivision that wasn't part of the CIA for years, decades.
Well, it was by mutual acclamation, I guess. Nobody, they wanted the garbage picked up.
But it's 50
It's allowed.
Nobody
There is.
decided they wanted to do it on their own, so
To me, it's.
the CIA did, it, and they paid for it. I mean, they just let things go.
I thought that was part of the CIA,
Okay.
and we were paying the CIA the
It was.
plantation, that was part of the
Garbage
thing,
bill
was
was part of
garbage pickup.
But not, we added the garbage bill afterwards.
To ours.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm glad we did that.
Better come and turn the machine on.
I'm coming.
What you need, Jeff?
Oh, he'll get it.
Oh,
Comment.
By the way, I told him I might not make it today because my wife had knee surgery today.
Think you'll go okay?
Everything went great.
There you go.
She had that, what they call meniscus or something, that big tendon had a tear in it. Yeah. She's great.
Getting
Fixed it.
They're getting good.
They are.
It's 4 p.m. and may the regular meeting of the River Plantation Municipal Utility District please come to order. And as a first order of business, we have the minutes to peruse, if you haven't already. I believe you're gonna have to start getting more detailed in your minutes by virtue of the new edict from the state.
Yes, that's true.
Tim, have you seen that, the new edict from the state?
I have not.
I'll give you a
Be
copy.
sure he gives you a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bonham just sent it to him yesterday, I think.
goes into effect September 1st.
Okay.
You get a copy for
Yeah, all the way till September
We'll all get a
Lots
copy.
of time.
next week.
Yeah.
But seriously, it'll impact the minutes for this meeting.
Okay.
So, do I hear a motion to accept or to change?
I accept, motion accept.
Motion to accept has been made
I'll second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That show it unanimous. All right, comments from the public. First on the list, Dolores?
Yes, it's funny you brought up about the minutes. That's what I was gonna talk to you about too. These minutes are pitiful. There's nothing in them, there's nothing on the agenda. I learn more from East Plantation's agenda and minutes to know what's going on in this area than from what we've got. And I've got another objection too on the July, I guess it was the July meeting where we voted on doing the environmental or the drainage or seeing what we could do for the park for Charleston. 4 votes were yes, 1 was no. Who was the no vote? The people,
I abstained.
why did you not put your name in there?
Pardon? I
Why-
abstained, I didn't vote.
Well, it should have been noted that way. And then when you had this committee set up for Jack and Julie, and you voted no.
Those are all in confidence. How do you know all this?
It's in, you have to vote here in the
We haven't
meeting.
voted on anything there.
You voted, and you voted no, and so
Yes,
Julie has a
that's
committee of 1.
There was a motion that was made
Yes.
that you and Julie would be in the committee.
Yeah.
That was publicly done.
Yeah, you
Well, that-
cannot,
That one I didn't vote on, no.
you
I-
did too, you voted no, and so she's a committee of 1.
Yeah. Well, no, that was voted on in confidence.
You can't vote in confidence.
Yes, we can. And there is a separate meeting minutes
And
for
you
those.
come out here and then
No.
you vote. Oh,
If there
You
are
did.
decisions made,
and there were,
and they were announced.
and it's in the
It was
minutes.
an open
Yes,
motion
you
that was
have to do
made.
that.
Absolutely, it was open motion.
Yeah, you came out and formed a committee.
I made 2 motions.
And they made the motions and y'all approved it.
Yeah, she and I were on
That's what
this
she's
committee.
talking
Yeah, but
about.
you voted no for that, and
I
you,
voted no on one, I don't know which one you're referring to.
that's the one, for being on a committee with Julie. So you voted no, and
But
then you
everybody
abstained
else
for the other.
voted yes, so I'm still on.
I know, but people need to know how everybody votes. I mean,
Okay.
whatever's in the minority, put this
That's
people
one of the
in.
things I think this is going to address.
Well, I certainly hope so. Okay, another thing I'm talking about is the meters. Now, we are not making any money, we're losing money, and you're gonna be spending $500,000 on meters. We had a problem 1 month, now it seems to be fixed. I think that's just hold off on that vote, because that doesn't make any sense when you're losing money. Let's wait and see what happens.
Any other comment?
Well, I do, but I'll save them for next month.
Okay. Next. Betty Brown.
Yes, I have 2 questions. I wanted
Sure.
to find out what the status of you're getting with the commissioners on cleaning the ditch out. If there's any status on that, or is it still pending?
We received an email August 22nd at 2:42 p.m. as to an inquiry from our consultant, SMC Consulting, and he queried the U.S. Corps of Engineers stating, in your summary letter referencing our May 29 discussion attached, I am unclear about the item listed in 2, which is an assessment of the current condition of channel is needed. Here's my confusion. The channel is currently concrete lined. We certainly can run a stream assessment on it today to score it today. However, since stream assessment didn't exist in 1996, when the work was done, how would we use this information for the historic channel? In other words, they imposed on us here a month and a half ago, a new stream assessment requirement. And we're all in a quandary as to what they mean. Because how can you assess a stream? It's a concrete line. And that was just received.
So no decisions made?
Nothing.
Nothing's been made. Okay.
Nothing.
Also, I had another question regarding in the last meeting I was attending, there was a proposal about sending your attorneys that were here that day to talk about possibly purchasing Seacourse.
That's a confidential matter. It includes land dealings, and it's not to be discussed.
I didn't know if anything
at
had
this point
ever
in time.
been brought up about that again.
Is that all?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Horner.
Hello. So I live off the ditch over there on Fairway, and I see numbers and lines being drawn on it.
That's been done a year ago.
Well, there's some new ones.
Well, we had to redo them because they're getting old and faded.
So what are those lines for?
That's those repaired, those slabs are to be repaired if and when we ever get
Yeah,
approval.
okay. Yeah, I've seen the lines and go, oh man, something's happening.
Yeah, those numbers mean there is a proposal before the USGS that was turned down. And the proposal by Blisle Engineering was to repair those particular slabs. And you got to tear them out and then repull. So you'll see those numbers all up and down the ditch.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all.
Tom?
Yeah, got a couple of quick things. First thing, I want my $7 back.
The what?
I want my $7 back. Lived here for 23 years, and I got a shut-off notice the 18th or 19th of this month.
Okay.
And so I come up and talked to Richard and the young lady up front. They told me if my check wasn't here on the 16th, that they automatically put a late charge on it, which is, by the way, 10%, but that looks ridiculous. But anyway, so they put that on there. And then I got here on the 20th to talk to them about it right away, and she said, oh, we got your check yesterday, which would have been the 19th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I said, okay, so you've been paid, take it off. So they said, no, they can't do it. Let's talk to Richard. Richard said, the only people can do it are you. That's well, what that means is if you don't get me my bill by the first of the month, do I get to take 10% off? His response was appropriate. He said, no. I take it to the post office. They don't get it to you in time. That's not my fault. And I say the same thing. It's not my fault if the post office didn't get it to you in time. And if you want proof, I can prove that it was paid in time. Now that's part one. Part two, I'd like to get you guys to review that procedure that you put in place, because I think it's not fair to a lot of your customers. Now let me give you one document. Was that basically correct, Richard?
Yes,
What I
sir.
said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remember, he said, they said that if you check in here by the 16th, they're going to add a late charge. There's a copy of the check. What's that say?
Received on the 15th.
It's actually, I think, the 16th.
It's the
But
16th.
either way, it shouldn't be assessing a late charge.
I think it says 15th.
Huh? It's 15 or 16, I can't tell for sure.
It's the
Either way, I
16th.
don't think I should have
If
a
it
late charge.
does, take care of it.
Okay, and I think it should be reviewed. Maybe
Do you
should look-
stamp it, received?
Anything over the 15th, we stamp. That's why it's stamped. So that means
All right.
we received it on the 16th, which,
Well, it says received the 15th.
mhm.
Am I cross-eyed?
Yeah, that's the
I actually
16th.
think it says 16, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's the 16th.
I am cross-eyed.
I wouldn't say you're cross-eyed, but it's the 16th. Take a look
Well,
at it.
when was it mailed?
Either way, it's a post office mistake. I can prove it was mailed in time. And
Is it
that's the
mailed on
same.
your bank?
What do you say, Ken?
Yeah, it's mailed from
It looked like a
USA.
5 to me, that's what,
Huh? All I'm asking is that it be taken off, and I'm asking that,
you're supposed to have good eyes, let's use this guy.
That's why I got glasses.
I've got them, but I don't use them.
there, Jack, what I'm thinking is, they ought to look at the the letters and see what date they were mailed. Not what date somebody got them out of a post office.
Well,
I guess 15.
I would agree with you, Tom.
It's $7, just.
I mean,
all
that's
I'm
how the
asking.
IRS works. You have to have it postmarked by midnight on the 15th of April.
I'm just saying, if we check the postmarks and everything, this wouldn't be happening. I've lived here over 23 years, never had a shut-off notice or a late charge. And I'm asking this one be taken off.
you read 15 or 16? What'd you read?
I look like a 15 to me,
That's what it looked like to me.
Well, it looks like a 16 to me, but the back of the
My question is,
6
what difference does
Well,
it
Back of the
you can
six.
just barely see, you can see where it's curved.
I think you ought to take care of the man, yeah.
Okay, if I can
Right.
address the
but
board,
there was
That's
another,
up to you, though.
there
You're
was
the
another
gentleman.
6 in there. There's another 5. There's not another 6.
if I can address the board, here's the issue we've been running into a lot more, and it's getting worse. The problem is the people who pay online. As a mail from their own banks, not our online as the webpage, it's from their banks. They pay it on, we've got numerous checks, they're paid on the 12th. We don't get them till the 19th. The current policy states that it must be in the office. That's when we post it. Now, the fact, here's the other thing is, they pay, and I've done some research even with even the bank we use, and I found out some things that I didn't know about. Just because you pay online and you say, I want it to be paid on the 12th, the bank, from what I understand from the bank that we're using, their procedures are the exact same way. Yes, you get put on the list for that day to be authorized for payment. The bank makes the check out on that day.
Then they mail it.
They mail it. After that, it's up to the post office.
Same way at my bank.
And so sometimes we don't get it.
Which banks are we talking
Wells
about?
Fargo, it takes 5 days to get from my house
That's right.
That's typical.
And the reason for it is Wells Fargo's in California. Their check come out of California. Chase comes out of Delaware. And all these other banks, they're all over the place. None of them are in Texas.
My
Well,
mortgage
they
goes to
also tell
Dallas
you
in 2
if you
days.
pay
Yeah.
it that way,
So,
that if you do it, then you can expect the check by the 12th, then you can expect it by the 19th.
right, but,
That's what it says on mine
right.
when I do
Right.
it.
Well, I did the same thing. My bank tells me it'll be there by this date. Now, if it gets there or not, we don't know that. What we're seeing here is the checks are not getting here till the 19th and the 20th. And,
Well, would changing it 5 days help you?
Yes.
well, that's up to the board. That's not up to me.
But what Tom's asking you to do is look at the postmark.
Excuse me, we're talking here.
See, if you want to go by the postmark, then we need to change the policy to reflect that. Right, currently, the policy states that it must be in the office by the 15th. That's,
All right, if we change the policy to say it must be here by the 20th,
well, then we have to change the whole,
But then people will start mailing it on the 19th.
yeah.
well,
See, it doesn't matter if it's the Mud Board or MasterCard, you better have it there by the day it's
That's
due,
right.
or else
I
you
have
get
the
late
same-
charge.
Now, I have the same
I understand
issue.
that.
I have the same issue when they drop it in the Dropbox.
yeah, I've been
I mean-
dinged by MasterCards
Yeah.
and all of
I
them.
mean, they're dated on the 14th and the 15th, but they don't put them in the mailbox until the 17th. So the computer's automatically on the 16th and the postal service charge.
All right, do you have a suggestion to change it?
Well, again, plain, this is a continuing issue. We're gonna have to look at how we're gonna get around this because the post office seems to be the biggest problem.
Well, it's a chicken or the egg type situation.
Exactly. So if you wanna change it, I mean, that's up to the board. You set the policies, I don't.
Jack, man, make a comment?
All right, we will make, I'm gonna submit a motion. We can't do it, it's not on the agenda.
Nope.
We'll put it off until next month, but I'm going to direct you to withhold any late payments if they're not received, if they're received legitimately. How's that?
Yeah.
look at the dates. And if somebody gets here on the 30th, that's not kosher. But in this case, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't issue a credit. Now, that's between you and I. It has no action of the board, and we'll take board action up next month.
So,
We'll make an item on the board next month to change policy.
so to issue him a credit on this one. So if I do that.
Him and any others that have the same
I
problem.
was just gonna say, what about all the rest of these? They're all in the
Well,
same boat.
Then, if you do one, you have to do them all, son.
Exactly. Right.
Well,
That's
wait,
what I'm saying.
comment.
If I do one, I've gotta do them all. I can't just
Are
do
they
one.
all similar?
Yes.
What I don't
You
understand,
all-
got them before the 20th, basically?
No, I didn't get them till after the 16th.
I said, did you get them before the 20th?
Oh, some of these, yes. Some of them, yes, before the 20th.
All right.
If you're saying by the 20th, then these are.
In
all-
other words, did they mail them in time? They should have gotten here by roughly the 20th.
Yeah, I have to look at the postmarks on them, because they're coming from the bank, they're not coming from the individual, they're coming from when the bank does it.
I know all that. I don't.
So we've gotten checks from the banks 2 and 3 weeks later, you know, and what can I do about it? I mean, they're postmarked, but they didn't get to our office till 2 to 3 weeks later.
But
Well-
what can the homeowner do? It's not their
Well,
fault
I
either.
agree, and that's what I was trying to explain to them. I don't have any control with the post office.
You know, what I always do, and it's just me, but if I have a bill that's due by the 15th and I've got to mail it, I mail it by the 10th.
Yeah.
I don't wait till
I
the
do same
15th to
thing,
mail
yeah.
it. I know it takes some time,
Right.
and you think if you're doing it through the bank, you'll get it in time. But if that happens like that, you just, in my mind, you tell a person, we'll forgive you this time, say, but check with your bank and find out what a typical time frame is.
Yeah.
And just make sure you, when you
Okay,
tell your
tell
bank
us.
it needs to be in on the 15th, tell them it needs to be in on the 12th.
Not everybody
I know.
has that leeway though, and has that frame of mind.
What does the bill say?
Most people wait until the 15th to pay their bills, and then they worry about
Right.
If you drop
or
it
the
in,
next payday.
if you drop it in the Dropbox.
Have you got,
area-
Tom, does that satisfy your question?
Yeah, just the other thing I was saying is that you talk about the mail, post office being the problem, getting it on time. That's the same problem I have with my bill. I had 4 instances in the last year that I've had to call up here to find out what my bill was, because I didn't get one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm having to take my time and effort to go out and get the bill. I didn't charge you no 10%, you know? And I'm just asking it not be doing
Do you have the ability though to check online now to check your bill, don't you?
Not that I know of.
Yes.
Yes, I believe you do.
Why would somebody publish that so I know how to do it?
Well, they have that ability to pay by debit card or credit card, excuse me.
No, I understand.
And that way they have, I think all the bills, once you get into you're given a discrete password. And I think that way you know what bill to pay, so therefore you know.
I wonder where we could do that on this.
Yeah.
I can check that out.
I don't do it, but I mean, that's,
I'm not gonna do it that way either, but I'd like to know, find my bill when I don't get it.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's a way to get it without calling up here, if you go about it.
Again, it's a post office issue, which me and the postmaster have had it out a couple times. It's why
I
are
think
my
your
bills
idea is
going out
right.
and the customers aren't getting them?
Well,
You keep
my
your
next
bill.
door neighbor brought me 3 pieces of mail over at 12:30 today because they were delivered to his
Yeah,
house,
that's
not
the
mine.
problem.
Before I left on vacation 2 weeks ago, I took mail over to him because I got his.
But anyway,
The
I like
post
to know
office
what
is a
you're saying.
bureaucratic-run government agency.
Yeah. All I
Yeah,
can-
I rest
I
my case.
like what you're saying about keep the 15th as your due date. Give a couple of days grace period for the mail not getting here in time.
Well, that's what
Go by
we'll
the
decide
postmark.
at the next meeting.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm
Okay.
suggesting. Okay, I have one more thing. I'll get off of that.
I'm gonna pull what somebody pulled on Dolores. 3 minutes.
Okay, I don't need 3. I'm gonna tell you that. I saw you guys were talking about buying new meters and stuff. May I suggest you don't replace them all at once, just replace the ones that go bad with the new ones as they go.
Well, the problem with that, like we discussed last time, was volume purchasing. It's a lot more expensive to buy them by by the 100 than buying them by the 900.
A lot.
Well, there's an economy of scale, Tom.
Okay. Well,
And on top of that, you have to change, there's a number of changes that have to be made other than just reading meters.
Okay,
We have to change,
'cause I know they just changed mine.
we have to change in here, as well as out there, so it needs to be done pretty rapidly, all at one time. Anyway,
All right, I quit.
Will reduce the number of people on payroll?
excuse me, Jamie Goodman?
Yeah. I put no.
Oh, okay. Derek Wynn, you have something to tell us?
Nope.
Not at this time, as a comment goes. He's here to explain a couple of proposals that we have in our packet. Okay,
I need to add my name to your list. You didn't,
pardon?
you skipped me.
You're not on here.
Well, I need to be on there.
Pardon?
I need to be on there.
You didn't fill out that you wanted to make a comment?
We
I
came
just-
in late.
Oh, you were late.
Okay,
No,
okay.
No, not late, 4 o'clock,
You
right
started
on the
early.
dot, sorry.
Okay, make your comment.
Make your
I was
comment.
trying to just make it jump in there real quick and get it done. Is it gonna increase payroll or decrease the payroll if we replace all these meters? Is there gonna require less people to check the meters?
One day.
I'm okay. Because I'm kind of in the same boat as some other folks here, thinking this might need we might need a little time to think about this one, because it's a big purchase. We've had some that are already been replaced. Systems seems to be working pretty good from what I gathered from the meeting last month, but that's for y'all to decide. You don't need to respond. I just wanted to bring that up to the board. That's a big expenditure, and we're looking at from what I saw in open session, purchase of land, which was in open session, and also a study regarding Charleston that was in open session that I didn't see anything on the menu this month. What's the status of that study?
I'm not at liberty to say. That's in confidence, it's a land dealing, and we treat land dealings in confidence.
Okay, so there's a study going on for purchase of Charleston.
That's your summation.
No, that's what's in open session. What, if any, arrangement does the MUD and EP-MUD have regarding hiring security to monitor the wells?
I beg your pardon?
EP-MUD has hired security to monitor the wells.
Uh-huh.
Do we have any type of agreement with them to watch our wells, and what's the concern there? I don't think we've ever had any concern before.
That's on the agenda and will be addressed,
Okay.
okay?
And lastly, this comment session, can we have this at the end instead of at the, I have to wait a month
No,
to
sir.
ask the questions.
This is the way it's been for
Okay,
10 years.
so then you have the problem of, I'm asking
Well,
a
it
question.
gives us an insight of where you're coming from, where the public's coming from, and then we're able to then plan our business for the next month.
We can't do anything about it at this meeting, what you're bringing up.
Because it's
No,
not
no,
on
Because
the
it's not on
agenda.
the agenda.
I know if you guys discuss something on the agenda right now, I'd like to talk to you about it at the end of the meeting versus wait a month.
Oh, you can
Because I
talk to
basically-
any individual of us at the end of the meeting anytime.
Well, okay. I'd like your questions addressed in the same meeting that the question pertains to. Like, I'm talking about stuff with Charleston and purchase of that was the last meeting, the last 2 meetings. And I have to wait till this meeting before I can ask the question. But that's fine. Let's do it however you want to do it.
All right, any other comment?
So there is no security problems with
Do what?
there is no security problems with our wells.
I'm sure that it's to be discussed under item 8. We have discussed any agreements with EPUD regarding new position.
Okay.
That's item number 8 on the agenda.
I got it.
All right. Everybody gone through everything, bookkeeper's report and all?
Yes, sir.
We had some rather large capital expenditures during the month into Cruise Tech and to and MagnaFlow. Were those for the same? One was for a sewer line, the other one was for a.
MagnaFlow was for maintenance on the sewer plant, pumping all the sludge and stuff out when we
Yeah.
drained the tank. Five-year maintenance on it. Cruise Tech was to repair a collapsed storm drain in Richmond Park. It went between the two houses, and the gentleman's driveway was starting to collapse. So we had to do emergency repair on that.
Okay. They hit us pretty good, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a big pipe, and it collapsed in 3 spots. So had to go and do point repairs and reline it.
$48,000. Do we have over $200 in bank fee chargeback? And what, we can't have that many bad checks.
We've got a pretty good ration of bad checks lately. We've gotten them all back, but they're still hitting us with a fee. Of course, we hit the customer with a fee, return check fee. So we
That's
get
right.
it-
Where does that show up?
Yeah,
that
where's that
comes
show
back
up?
into the revenue again.
Just another
Oh,
revenue.
that's
I'm
right,
sure.
we talked about this, it's
Right.
not on this sheet.
That's correct.
Yeah, but that's the first time it stood out to me like that. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Of note, we're 100.
It's better than last month, right?
No, last month we were only 125. We've increased it another 12. The administrative reports. You've got your tax situation, which is on the wane, of course. What do we have to do about this public notice on the tax rate?
That's on your,
That's already been acted on.
no, this is to set the rate for the next year. That's item 7 on the agenda. I have to turn all this stuff in, so I'm.
Oh, we've got to
that's
hold
all
a public
information.
meeting on the 11th.
That's correct.
Be it known. I know the public meeting will be held on the 11th to set the tax rate.
Yeah,
No time has been set.
no, that's up to you to set the time and the date. I need to know, make sure that that date's okay. I can't go any later than that because we have to have 10 days notice.
Pardon? You can't go any later than the 11th, right?
Correct.
Is that what you're
10th or
telling
the
me?
9th, if you can't, you know, we had on the form for the 11th.
What day is it, is that?
I think it's, is it a Tuesday or Wednesday? I can't remember.
You got a smartphone, tell me.
11th is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
11th is a Wednesday.
What day do you want to meet for that? It's just to approve it and you're done.
What day is convenient with the other three?
10th would be better for me, 10th or the 11th.
Pardon?
10th or the 11th.
10th be better than the 11th?
Yeah. I can do either one, I think. I don't have my next one scheduled.
Bob?
Either one.
Tim?
I'm looking here. The 11th would be difficult, 10th would be better.
All right, let's set it for the 10th,
Okay?
and let's make it 7 p.m.,
Good idea.
7
just to see if we can get people out.
Okay.
All right?
No, that's on the agenda, so you have to make a motion for that.
Pardon?
That's on the agenda,
Where?
7.
Yep.
Oh, okay, fine.
I make a motion that we have our
So
tax
we'll
rate.
take it up on the 7th. Or,
When we get to 7.
Okay,
We'll take it up when we get to the agenda. How's that?
okay.
But that was just me asking what this,
You just got hit.
all right. Next item. All right. Your turn, Dirk. This is Derek Wynn, representative of our engineering firm, Blau Engineering. And we have uncovered some problems at the sewer treatment plant. And Derek's people have looked at it, and you have, and they've come up with a certain number of recommendations and an engineering cost. And I spoke the engineering cost.
Okay, back in July 24th, we did an inspection of the plant. Richard was actually able, this is for treatment unit 2, which is, if you're familiar with the plant, it's the, there's a circular unit, and then this is the one that's actually a set of rectangular tanks that are steel tanks. We were able to take that offline, drain the tanks, be able to inspect the tanks top to bottom. The good news is the areas that are below the water level are in really good shape. We took metal thickness readings, and it was very consistent around the perimeter of the tanks. It's all about 1/4 of an inch, which based on the consistency, we're thinking is, basically that's what the original steel that was used to build the tanks. However, and we already knew this, on the top level of the tanks, the corrosion is getting worse. It's consistently, you've got holes, you've got rust, you've got a lot of issues there that need to be repaired. So to basically replace all those units with brand new units, you usually use a rough dollar of $7 to $8 per gallon of treatment. It's 300,000 gallons of treatment for that section, so you're probably looking at $2 to $2.5 million. What we're recommending, just because most of the tanks are in good shape, is that you basically remove the poor areas around the top, basically 30 inches of the tank, and you also, while you're doing it, you replace all the catwalks.
What, you said there are holes. What's the general metal loss above the water level?
As like a percentage, or?
Yeah, 50%?
Yeah, I would say that's.
Or more.
Safe. I mean, obviously it's 100% where there's the holes.
Well,
But,
no doubt.
But I would say yes, in the areas that are showing corrosion, you're probably way more than 50%. So you've got the 1/4 inch you're starting with, and you may have a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. You have that.
So I could punch a pencil through it.
And in several areas you could.
Yeah.
They're already. I mean,
All right.
and we're not talking about pin-sized holes. We're talking about holes you can stick your foot through. So
I understand.
So based on all that, and we actually, based on discussions with Richard as well, we looked at, while you're doing this work, you may get some value if you're looking at doing these other items too. So we had 2 alternate items. One was to make the digester bigger. That helped with operations. Basically, they're having to waste the digester more often in this unit versus the other unit, and so this would help with being able to retain the sludge in the digester longer, not have to waste as often. The other item was screening. So there's a pretty bad problem with rags, things getting through the screens. Your current screen there has 1-inch openings, and standard for a normal screen like that is 1/4 inch openings, and then we're actually recommending looking at more of like a fine screen that can mechanically remove the screenings So we added those two alternates. So if you look at the proposal that we gave you, we gave a summary on the second page. If you just look at the repairs that are needed, all the steel, we are actually, once we do that, we're going to recoat the whole tank. So we're not just recoating the areas we're repairing, but we're going to recoat the whole tank. That way, you know, you've got all the steel replaced, and then you add the coatings to provide the corrosion resistance long term. So you're basically, basically starting with what would be like a new treatment system. And then
Are these internally coated? They're not, are they? They're just galvanized.
it's just
Just
carbon steel.
Oh, it's just carbon steel, it's not even galvanized.
Not galvanized. They were coated when they were first installed,
They were internally coated?
not internally.
No.
They,
External.
they're carbon steel with probably a epoxy type coating.
Wouldn't that be internally coating it?
That's-
If it's an
Internally, to
epoxy
me,
coating on the
is-
inside of
is-
the tank?
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying now. Yes, I thought you were talking about like a galvanizing, something that
Yeah.
it interrelates with the metal. That's not true. It's a coating on the metal, but the outside of the tank and the inside of the tank are both coated.
All right, well, okay. The inside of the tank below the water level, is it in
Yes.
good shape?
The coating,
Yep,
no, I would recommend removing.
because
the
that's gonna be the biggest hazard you face on down the line, is if something gouges it or,
Right, yeah, we're actually recommending inside and outside. You're sandblasting what coating is.
all right, so you're gonna take the
remaining.
entire thing down.
Yes, and then we're gonna coat it back with, usually you do 3 coats.
And the other unit will handle it as long as you're down?
Yes. It'll run overloaded, but with a belt press, we can maintain it.
If you know it's coming, you can be ready for it.
Correct.
Is doing it like this, would this be considered like a Band-Aid repair, or is this as good as new?
I wouldn't describe it as a Band-Aid. It's, we call it a rehabilitation, so it's not new, but I would definitely describe it as good as new. Again, since we tested all the metal, we think it's the same thickness as original. We're actually taking the coating off because of adhesion, and then we're going to put on a brand new coating. So I would say you're basically getting probably 95% of a brand new plant, but at half the cost. So that's why we're proposing to do it this way.
Now you've seen 3.5 feet above water level is where we have the corrosion. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, basically from the.
But you're gonna cut it off below that.
Yeah, I mentioned
in order to
30
make a lap.
inches. Yeah, and then we're cutting a little bit below that level.
All right, you got staves in there and all?
Yeah, they'll have to be replaced.
Okay, all right.
So, to finish the kind of the summary, the 845,000 is basically to put it back the way it is. And then the additional 287,500, that includes the 2 items I discussed, actually putting in a new tank for the digester to have a bigger tank there, and then also, was it the digester or the re-aeration? Which one was bigger?
That's the digester.
The larger area for the digester, all that does is just provide us a greater aeration area for the microbes?
Yeah, so it's gonna match what Unit 1
Yeah.
has, and it's gonna allow
Okay.
them to operate it better. And then the other items, the screens we talked about.
So if we have to take the other unit down, this one would support it
Absolutely,
for a while,
absolutely.
the entire amount, okay. It wouldn't do that today, would it?
No, he could tell you, but
No, it would.
Yeah, that's my point, I guess,
I like redundancy, and right now we don't have that at the plant.
yeah.
So add those two together. If you were to decide to include the alternate items, you're looking at the $1,132,000 for construction, and with the engineering fee, it comes up to $1.3 million.
Yes. A lot of these items are negotiable, I know.
Yeah, well, and we already included, if you were to not go with the alternates, we have items in there that can be removed that would obviously the engineering would be less if we're not including those alternates.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is that this has got to be put out for bid irregardless.
Yes.
And so, this is not, for your edification, this is not a hard and fast number.
Correct.
It's
total,
the best
we're
estimate
gonna-
they can come up with at this time.
We're gonna bid, it is the best estimate, obviously, when you're budgeting, you're trying to be
Yeah,
conservative. so
I understand.
The hope is that you will be less. I will throw a little caution in there, and you've probably heard as far as steel and tariffs and all that, that the prices waver quite a bit, and
If
so
we wait another 6 months, maybe some tariffs will be off.
maybe it'll go down.
Go down.
Because it's not just going up, it's going both directions.
Do
but
you,
it's hard for us to predict.
I want to bring up another point. We will pay 59% of this cost. EPUD will pay 41% of the cost. Okay? Now, we can approve this today, but that doesn't mean that EPUD will approve it. All right? So, it'll have to go to them for their approval because it exceeds. They'll have to look at it and approve because 41% of $1.3 million is a pretty good chunk of money.
Absolutely.
$500,000 or so.
And if I may, for the board's general information, that number 2 unit was actually put in as a package plant, temporary plant, in 1980.
As a temporary, wasn't it?
Right. So it's been there since 1980, and so the lifespan of it has far been exceeded. So we've been stretching it and stretching it and stretching it, but I don't see it lasting not much longer. That's why I'm saying we need to, this is something that needs to be a priority. Because if we go into violation with the TCQ, we're gonna really be in trouble.
By the way, just quote a couple of the fines that can be imposed.
Well, any spillage, you're subject to $20,000 a day fine until the mess is cleaned up, plus environmental studies and all that. You don't even want to get involved in that because it's a mess.
Yeah, I know.
So the trick is to stay ahead of the game. The best planning right now is if we do it before it collapses, then we're not running in emergency mode and we can make decisions that are going to help.
What are the chances of it overflowing?
Well, if the sidewall breaks out, then we'll lose the whole tank. We'll lose the whole
Yeah.
unit, period. And then we'll
But
be
the
in
firewall is nothing but a wall.
the
I mean,
quarter
it's
inch
just dirt.
wall, that's it, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have a massive spill on the side of the hill, and it's gonna go straight to the river, which makes it worse. So it's not gonna be good.
And that brings up another point, Derek.
Yes.
Why don't we cathodically protect this stuff?
I actually have mixed feelings in cathodic protection. It's something we could look at. We usually don't recommend it, especially with the coatings that are available now. They're far advanced from when cathodic protection was a lot more popular. We found that cathodic protection can actually cause problems.
Well, it depends on the potential of the earth, of course.
Yeah. And so, more difficult to operate, there's maintenance involved. So our general conclusion has been that the benefit you get is not worth the risk and the maintenance that's involved, so.
Well, and pipelines were coated inside and out, and we still put cathodic protection on.
Yeah.
And
they
we
still
do it
do
on
that
all the
today,
tanks.
too.
We
Yeah.
do it on all the tanks also.
Mhm.
Water and oil. So that was just my question. I think it's like a lot of things. The water people just don't come up to snuff anymore on the latest.
I kind of stand by my opinion. When we actually have coating contractors that they actually won't allow you to turn on the cathodic protection until after the 1-year warranty because they don't want the cathodic protection to cause issues during that time. And then you do what you want, but there have been enough instances where it's caused problems that's kind of become the case. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it depends on what kind of cathodic you put in there, whether you put an impressed card on there or whether you use bags or whatever.
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
What's the time frame for the actual, from day one to, how long is it gonna take to finish?
So we'll have to go do a more detailed inspection, figure out all the pieces that need to be replaced, everything. I'm estimating we're probably about 3 to 4 months. Then we also have to go to TCEQ, get their approval. So probably, I'd say 5 to 6 months before you see construction. I'm estimating on construction, you may be close to the 4 to 6 month range too. So when you add bidding in the middle there, it's probably from today to the end, 1 year to have it complete. So.
the time frame, if we could start and finish during the winter months, would be ideal
For the construction? Yeah.
because of the lack of fluid going through the plant. I
As
mean,
long as it's not raining.
It's reduced quite a bit during that period of time.
Yeah.
The contractors I talk to too prefer it more in the winter and the fall.
Well, yeah,
They actually don't want to do it in the summer because of the humidity.
well, it's hard to keep people out there working. I understand that. All right. Do I hear a motion to accept the recommendations and forward them to the EPUD for approval? And then at our next session, final approval?
I'll make that motion.
Should we,
Motion been made and did you get, the motion is that we accept the proposal and the recommendations as stated,
to include
and
the
then
S word?
upon submittal to the EPUD and their acceptance, then at the next meeting, we will give final approval. And at that time, we'll enter into some negotiations about engineering fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
No bids?
All right. The second thing, water meters.
Wait a minute, you gotta finish that. motion.
Finish. I second.
Finish that motion first.
Oh, excuse me, we got a vote. Motion made. You seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meters. I see you're here to stand in for Jennifer,
Yeah, well, I signed the.
or is
proposal.
it, or did you sign this?
I signed the proposal, she did help with the estimates. So,
Okay,
There was a tag team effort.
all right, all right.
So the meters, basically what this is proposing, AMR, it's something that we've done with several of our cities. They've all had very positive results. Once you work through the upfront setup and everything, obviously there's work involved with that. And once they get to that point, the system we're proposing is what they call a drive-by system. Which is basically there's a transceiver on the meter and there's a transceiver in the vehicle. You're able to drive through the neighborhood in a matter of probably an hour versus the normal 1 to 2 days that it takes to read all the meters. That also logs all the information into a database. There's a lot of options as far as do you want, daily data, hourly data, by the second, graphs, et cetera, all that. Those are all be worked out in the initial preliminary engineering stage to make sure we put together a package that would go out to bid to basically replace all the meters, to include the transceivers, and to also include the basically hardware and software that the district would have to be able to read and log the data. So. That's kind of a brief overview. Richard actually did a good job talking to a few of these companies that produce these meters ahead of time. So we feel fairly confident that the number we have will be at or less. Obviously, like you were saying before, this would be competitively bid with the hopes of finding maybe another company that could do it for less, or maybe this company can as well. So total price with engineering, we're looking at $435,000, a little bit of change. And I guess that's kind of the overview. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
The installation, and I guess you looked into this, didn't you, Richard? Of the reading that's transmitted from the, I guess he has a little handheld that he goes around and
Yes.
the transceiver talks to it.
Right.
They back and forth,
Correct.
and then he comes in and unloads it.
Yes.
Down with it.
Is that the way it goes? Which is, I'm familiar with those. And then you have a program which takes that data and will automatically bill.
No, what the collector does is it drives by all the meters, collects the data. When you bring the collector into the office, you stick it in a pod. The pod downloads it automatically to RVS.
Yeah.
So the bills are already done automatically.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but it's not. It imports it into the billing system. It doesn't actually print the bills.
Well,
But it does the billing.
It does the billing.
It does the billing.
Basically, it's
Yeah.
Put it in the
That's
readings.
my point.
You're not, he's saying you're not getting a new billing system, it'll work
Right.
with your existing billing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It interfaces with the current billing system.
Okay. But all it does is just, it prints it off, nobody has to do any input.
Correct.
That's the kicker.
Right.
So, in light of all the criticisms we've had, all the human errors and all of that, Derek, does this kind of alleviate that problem?
Human errors,
Yeah?
for readings.
What errors can
absolutely.
we expect from this type of operation? Other than the batteries
Well,
going
no,
out and you
I
can't
mean,
read the meter?
For one, the meters are, compared to an older meter that's been there for a long time, you're gonna get more accurate readings just to begin with.
Well, there's no doubt, and that ought to cut into our loss number that we have here, which runs this last month 8%.
Right,
So-
so most of these systems tout 99.9% accuracy.
And the best we've had, I want to point this out. The last time we changed meters here, other than individual meters from time to time, was 2000 and what? 6. 13 years ago. And they are PD meters. And there is no way for a PD meter that they only publish the fact that they're only good plus or minus 2%. But with age, there's no way that they maintain that. It's always higher because of erosion. There's no way you can keep the rust and the sand and out from all these meters. They cut them up. They're small, but it's amazing how much water can pass a minute hole or around something very minute at 60, 70 pounds PSI, 60, 70 pounds per square inch. And that's about what you run the system at.
So as far as, errors in the current system, obviously, somebody goes and reads the meter, so that's a chance to read the wrong number. They write it down, it's a chance to write down the wrong number. They come back to the office,
Yeah.
somebody else takes it, tries to read their handwriting, put it in the system. So you've got, 4 stages along the way.
There's no
that
doubt.
you can make an error that now with an automated system, computers, at least as far as that's concerned, are a little smarter than we are in keeping it.
Well, there was a
consistent.
lot of criticism here recently about how there wasn't any way they could read the meter because they were covered up and all this business. And that wouldn't happen in this case, as I understand it.
What's the life expectancy on the electronic version?
It's gonna depend on the meter, so I don't wanna tell you, I would say you're safe for 20 years, but, you know, depends on the system we actually put in place. I don't know if you got that answer from the specific company.
It depends on the meter company that you get. Certain ultrasonics and other ones are guaranteeing, not the meter, but the battery life for 20 years. Other ones are only warranting it for 10 years. The meter itself is a 5-year as a general rule. But it also depends on which meters you get and the companies, because some of the meters the batteries are sealed in them, so you can't change them. If the battery goes dead, you have to change the whole meter out. Other ones, they have an external power supply and external transmitters, so it depends on the company that you're using and the method you're using. Cell networks are one way, radio frequency networks are another way, and the remote ones like we are another way. So all of that will be looked at in the proposal and also in the...
Well, I think what his point is, what's the difference between that and the PD meter that we're using today?
Well, the PD meters are warranted basically for 1 year. That's it.
But how long do they last?
They
I
recommend...
know we've had them 13 years.
Yeah, the manufacturers usually recommend 10 years for a total lifespan. That's it. After that, because your efficiencies are going downhill from that point on. When it reaches a 10-year period, it's at the point where they say it's out of calibration or not within the tolerance level anymore, which means our meters are slowing down as they age. So, and they've been in the ground for 13 years, so I guarantee you they're not reading 99.9% accuracy anymore. We're probably down to 92 or so, or less.
They were only guaranteed to be plus or minus 2%.
Correct. When you started, so.
98% would be about what you could gather, and our loss numbers kind of go along with that.
Correct.
Richard, what's your opinion on these? What's your opinion on changing to electronic?
Well, my personal opinion is, you know, they are much more efficient, you know, and it takes the human error out of the picture, you know, and if the public wants more accurate, and a lot of cities are going to digital because it's, you know, they're looking at the people want more information now. They want, well, what did I use last month? When did I use it? What time did I use it? Well, we can't give them that information now. It's the once a month reading. That's the only time we look at those meters, once a month. Whereas with the AMRs, once we download it, we can give them a whole month picture. You know, so you get a lot more information that if the customer wants it, we can give it to them. You know.
So you could, if there was suddenly a large bill, you could
we would
nail
go back.
down the day suddenly that
I could read I could read the hour that it happened.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So you know.
You could probably tell almost to the hour that it happened.
Currently, if I have a problem with a customer and let's say their bill is really high, I'll go read the meter again to verify that it's higher, you know, and then in certain people, what I've done, not everybody, because I can't do this, I'd be here all day long, but I mean, certain people that have specific issues, I'll go read the meter daily for them and then manually create a chart for them, and then I can show them, okay, on Thursday it went up. What happened on Thursday? Well, my sprinkler system went on Thursday. Okay, well, there's the problem. See, you need to go look at your sprinkler system. Because on the rest of the days, they were normal. And every day the system came on, I could see, well, here's the spike. Well, I have to manually do all that. Well, with this system, it's done as a normal. And databases are created. You can track history all the way back from when you start the system.
Well, that's a lot of information, but what's your opinion on it? What would you do? As the general manager of this MUD, what would you do?
Well, that's from an operational standpoint, the meters are basically doing the same thing. You know, they're reading it. It doesn't matter if they're mechanical, electronic, or whatever. They're still reading. It just depends on what the district wants to do as far as how you want to record it and how you want to have history and how you want to report it. You know, from my point of view, I'm still going to read them. Doesn't matter if they're digital or manual. I've still got to go out once a month and read them. It just takes less time for me to do that now. And all the data is downloaded for me. I don't have to individually pick at it anymore. So from that point of view, I can give the customer a more efficient, a more accurate way of doing it.
I can tell you from professional standpoint, everybody is getting away from just a standard PD meter. Everybody.
Yeah. The
Doesn't
trend,
make any difference whether it's water, oil, whatever.
the trend in the
Because they're
industry
not
is-
accurate, they're not as accurate as the new meters that are coming out today.
yeah. The trend in industries, they're all going digital.
Yeah.
One is getting to be a lot more affordable than it originally was.
Pardon?
It's getting to be a lot more affordable.
Oh, yeah,
Technology's
before,
getting better and.
I put in a bunch of sonic meters, you know, and they get kinda expensive when you have a density compensator on there and the whole bit.
Okay.
Did you get what you needed?
Pretty close.
He didn't say yes or no though, did
No,
he?
he didn't. No politician.
Yeah, I think you'll find that he has a hard time saying yes or no to the direct question sometimes.
Time frame. I mean, this would be great to have them in right now. Is there a changeover point where it becomes more economical to do the new ones and finally get rid of them? Are we at that point now where it's something that has to be done in the next couple, 3 months? Are we losing more stuff than what it's gonna cost? I mean, have we hit that point yet?
Well, the meters are already losing accuracy,
Oh, yeah, I know.
so that's just a given, you know.
But you're losing accuracy.
We're
You're
losing
losing
it.
4%,
Exactly.
4% of whatever.
Well, we were 8% last month. We've got 8% loss on water.
That's a dollar figure.
That's unacceptable.
Billed at some number.
What's that bill at? What's 8% of our water cost? What's it costing us?
Average, let's say the average is 2 1/4, huh?
Probably around in
Well, it's about $2 for the lower.
Right.
That, say 2 1/4. So per 100, so 2 1/4 times 757.
So it could make more sense to just pay now and
Well,
start recouping that, say, 6%.
I don't know that we'll recoup it all though, Mark.
We won't, but I mean,
There's no way you'll ever recoup all the loss because
$2.
they keep turning on faucets that they don't record, you know, and things like that.
there. You'll never get 100% in the system.
Yeah, I know, but
But
if we're at
if we
8%
cut it-
now, and this could get us at 1%, or 2%, or even 3% or something, that 5%, or, you know, that would be saving starting the moment we put the new meters in, how
Well-
long would it take to recoup?
Well, let me put it to you this way. When I got here in 2001, their loss in this district was 28%. And the first thing I did was started an investigation and fixed all the leaks, had to fix the pumps, and everything that was wrong with the system first. 2006, I replaced all the meters, and I went from 24% by the time I got done. When I replaced the meters, it went down to 2% loss.
And that's when they were new.
That's when they were
Meters
brand new.
And that's what they should have.
Right.
But a PD meter doesn't last that long as far as the accuracy. Particularly if there's any rust and or,
Well, I understand, I'm just trying
Sand
to
in
look,
them.
I'm just trying to find the point where it makes more sense to change them at this date. Does it have to be today? Can it be,
Today, no.
you know, I mean, can we hold this off for another year and still not lose that much? I mean, I'm all for modernization and the data flow and all that stuff, that's great. Throw an alarm on them so that whenever it sees all of a sudden your house is pumping, spewing water, it sets off an alarm. That'd make it a lot better for us. But yeah, I'm all for it, but I mean, like, can we afford it right now? Do we have to do it now, or can we hold off?
Are you replacing any meters at this point? Or?
We replace them every once in a while, not very much. I've replaced probably, in the past 6 months, maybe 8 meters. So it's not that drastic.
Yeah, I would say this is a discussion that we want to probably continue with and not make any motions or decisions today. Because we don't need to. It's not a,
We got the tank, you know, we've got the tank to worry about. This
Right.
is going from 1.2 all of a sudden to another 0.4.
another $500,000.
Does EP, do we handle the meters for EP?
No,
EPUD?
they're not involved in this at all.
Do they have this kind of meter?
They currently do not know.
Okay. But that is irrelevant as far as we're concerned, because they do their own water billing.
Exactly. Totally separate system.
Yeah, the only commonality we have
Is the
is in the sewer treatment plant.
Okay.
Right.
Got it. And the ditch.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue studying and find a more appropriate time to go farther with this.
Yeah, I think we need to think about it. I second it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
All right. It says, somebody put on here, discuss any agreements with EPUD regarding new position.
We haven't done
No, we
7
have
yet,
7 first.
which is the
Oh,
tax
excuse
rate.
me, that's the tax rate, pardon me. I suggest we set September the 10th at 7 p.m. as a date for the public meeting to set the tax rate.
I second.
At what time?
7?
7.
Is the motion been made?
I'll make a
And second.
motion. Oh, the motion was already made?
I made the motion.
Oh,
It's
okay.
second.
I second it.
Seconded it.
Motion made and seconded. All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
All right, so be it. Now, get to the next item. Well, I'm not aware of any new position in number 1. And the board doesn't hire or fire except for the general manager. So anybody know what the deal is?
There, I believe that EP.
Since I've been on vacation, I've been lost.
I believe EP made they made a new position for security.
Okay,
That's all I know.
and
I guess they want to make sure that it stays in EP and that we're not involved in it. financially.
EP talked to me before I went on vacation. And they said, we want to hire, because they're under an edict same as we are. Homeland Security and TCQ has been on us to increase security. They came and said, we could hire security to look after the wells on the weekends. I said, what's the cost? Well, we don't know. Depends on how much time is involved. Okay, tell me how much time is involved, give it a month or so, and then come back to me. Period. Anything else?
So there can be no agreement because we don't know what the cost is.
There is no agreement, other than
I
the
mean,
fact that
but
we would
discuss
review
any
the
agreement.
cost with EPUD at least a month down the road. Okay?
Okay.
They right now are estimating the cost to be total $1,000 a month.
That would be through all wells and sewer plants and
That's
everything.
correct.
And
That's correct.
both all the mud.
That's correct. That was the initial estimate. Now, we're gonna see what it turns out to be.
Well,
$1,000 per month for just EP or also
No,
ours?
total.
Everything.
total. They'd pay 50% of the sewer plant, we pay 50% of the sewer plant, we pay for 3 wells, they pay for 2. You gotta break it down, we'll see what the cost is.
That's a lot of good info.
Is that just weekends, did you say?
Pardon?
Is it just
Just
weekends?
weekends, yeah.
So we
We
don't know what
have
the
people
cost
here,
is.
we have people here basically 8 hours a day,
Right.
all right? On Saturdays and Sundays, I know Richard and David, they're in and out as fast as they can get out of here, okay? In the mornings. And they don't return until the next morning. So, basically, we don't have anybody seeing anything Saturday afternoon through until the next
Monday
morning.
morning.
And we don't have anybody the same thing on Sunday. We have had some vandalism. Not recently, but we've had it. In the sewer plant and on the water wells. And that's something that Homeland Security sent us a brochure, probably yay thick, and TCQ look at it every time they come out here and says, where's your security? Well, here's what we do. Well, you need to improve. Anyway, there are no agreements at this point in time other than an agreement to look at.
Okay.
TCEQ says we should have security.
Oh, Homeland Security's telling
Homeland
TCQ.
Security says we should have security.
That's right.
You say,
So we've made it upon ourselves, so we don't need security.
Well, that's not the fact.
them we have
We
Homeland
have,
Security.
we've just been lax and not doing it.
we have Homeland Security to protect us.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
Well, up until recently, we've had continuous, I don't want to say continuous, it's not continuous by any form or fashion, but we've had 7-day-a-week surveillance out here by certain constables, sheriffs, whatever. Okay?
Could we add time to that probably? I mean, it's not like.
We've
we
never
gotta go
been
hire
charged
some-
for it.
But I mean, we could add additional.
I don't. That's one of the things I
That's
gotta see.
one of the things we gotta find out.
That's one of the
Right.
things I don't know about.
We don't even know if they drive by.
See,
the
I
water
did it and
plant.
left. I just said, yeah, I'll look at it when we get back next month. Anything else?
No.
Another item down here, discuss board communication. Now, we're under rather strict rules by virtue of the Open Meetings Act as far as board communication. What's the problem? Who put this on there? What do we need to discuss?
The only time we can discuss anything is in an open meeting.
That's right.
Well, unless we have a closed session, so I'm not sure.
That's
what-
right. What,
Are you
Does
talking
anybody-
about from the office to us or something?
Did-
Or who
did
who
you
I
put
didn't-
this in here?
No, I didn't put it on there.
Julie requested it.
oh, well, I don't know what's on her mind, so I can't.
We could look at whatever expand the minutes, I don't know if that's, I
Well,
haven't seen that agreement.
believe me,
but-
we got an epistle from the lawyer yesterday or day before. When was it? Yesterday or day before?
Day before yesterday.
That outlined 2 different problems. One was the minutes, and the other one was what we have to do on our utility bills. We've got to add a bunch of language on the utility bills.
Such as?
I don't know, you'll have to ask him. It was a 3-page epistle, that's all I remember.
Legislature passed a bunch of laws that go into effect September 1st. So after September 1st, I've got to make changes to the minutes, changes to the billing, posting on the internet. There's all kind of information that they're requiring us to do now.
I just wonder what kind of information has to go in the bill.
And if it's coming from the legislature, it's not optional, you can't opt out.
No,
and say, no, we're
this
not.
is something that's new.
It
and
costs
has
too
to-
much.
Right. I have to record everyone who's present, every vote,
Every vote, yeah.
every, everything that's going down the line now, elections, utility cost, I mean,
We have
who's
to
in charge,
report how much
everything.
natural gas we gotta use.
Yeah, it's another issue, but.
How many kilowatt hours of electricity we use.
I don't-
Weird.
I don't understand what has to do with any of that, but that's what they want, so we have to follow through with it.
Okay.
Since we're a governmental agency.
Does anybody have any further items they'd like to bring before the board that has been discussed in the past?
I do not.
No.
Timothy?
No,
Bob,
sir.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
You
I'll second
have
it.
made, Mr. Smith that makes the motion. I shall second. How's that?
It's fine.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let it be unanimous.